Now joining us on the Farrah and Farrah phone line, it is former LSU head coach Ed Orgeron. Coach O, thanks for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Hey, anytime Leon Searcy asks me to do something, I'm going to do it. Man, what a great man you got on your show, and just happy to be on the show.
Great segue, Coach. Can you tell us what is your earliest memory of Leon Searcy? Because he was just telling us some stories about you and him back in the day.
Well, he was on the scout team. I remember this. Big, hard worker, yes, sir, no, sir, kick butt. That's what I remember about Leon Searcy.
Hey, how you doing, Coach? Coach, I long for those days on Green Tree Field when I was on the scout team. And I tell these people all the time that the reason why I was an offensive lineman that I was at Miami is because our defense whooped our tails every day in practice, Coach.
Development. And that's the tradition, Leon, that tradition that y'all had at the University of Miami. When I stepped on the field as a young coach with Jimmy Johnson, I learned how to coach at the University of Miami. And I tried to carry on that tradition in every school that I went to. What a Green Tree practice field, Leon. I went down there. My son's an analyst down there at the University of Miami, and Mario's going to do a great job. And, boy, it's my first time back on the practice field. That's the great memories that you have, hard work.
Now, Coach, there's one saying I got to ask you about because I remember you saying it. You said, Cortez Kennedy, you come off the ball like a bowling ball with butcher knives. Do you remember saying that, Coach?
I remember that. Hey, Lee. And he did it. It made him a lot of money.
He showed it. He showed it, Coach.
Oh, we're talking with Ed Orgeron, and just one of the great voices. You have no idea, Coach, how many times we played one of your drops on the radio, probably as many as any radio station out there. But your personality, it precedes you. Is it fun to be loved and adored the way you have been throughout your career?
Yeah, I love it, man. I was just so fortunate that as a young boy from South Louisiana, growing up Cajun, that I was able to go to places like Miami, Syracuse, USC, and then back to my home state and LSU, win the national championship. And Leon knows this, man. You guys know it. I tell every coach, you got to be yourself, man. There's no way I could be anybody else. But, I enjoy it. I love football. And I love the opportunity it gave me.
Hey, Ed, it's Matt Hayes. Thanks so much for joining us. So with LSU, Nick wins the title in the early 2000s. Les follows him. He's got to win a championship, so he does. Then you go and you basically have maybe what many people think is the greatest college football team in the modern era. So this is what Brian Kelly's walking into right now at LSU. The expectations are at the top of the top. Is he like if he doesn't win a national championship, is it failure?
Well, I don't know what they discussed, but I know that's the expectation there at LSU, and they want it, and they want it now. But you know what? You ought to be able to do it at LSU. And, they gave me 3 years, which was very fair. They gave me the time to build our football team, and look what happened. This is a great state, Louisiana. As you guys know, it's not like Florida State, FSU, Florida, and Miami fighting for the top players. It's LSU. You should get the top players here. You got a great tradition, so you should be able to win the national championship. Now, you're not going to win it every year, but you should be able to win it, get in 3 years. You should be able to do it.
Now, Coach O, some of those great players from Louisiana were a part of your 2019 national championship squad. And as we here are looking towards the NFL draft here in Jacksonville, obviously your guy Jamar Chase has kind of changed how a lot of people look at the draft. What's your perspective on what him ascending so quickly through the National Football League has now done for everyone else who's now trying to catch up with him and Joe B out in Cincinnati?
Difference makers, playmakers. And, good for Cincinnati listening to Joe. I'm sure they did. And, boy, what a tremendous connection that those two have together. Jamar has a tremendous ability to go up and get the football, big, strong hands, great worker. Him and Joe got to know each other in the summer. The wide receiver coach made him catch 10,000 balls together. So, as you know, if you got to catch 10,000 balls together, you can get to know each other. You can go out and eat. But he just got a tremendous timing. But they get playmakers. Let them play.
So our guy Matt Hayes has been stumping for the Jaguars to take a wide receiver in the same mold as Jamar, number 1 overall. Do you agree? Would a wide receiver be worth it for the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah, I think everything is different. Yeah. I took Jamar as number 1. There's no problem. I think the Cincinnati Bengals look at it that way.
Right.
But I just think you got to look at your squad. Where's the holes I got to fill? What do I need to get me to the Super Bowl? and it almost got Cincinnati Super Bowl.
Now, Coach, you were the head coach at LSU in 2019 when you won a national championship, and you were there when we won 2 national championships in Miami. How are those two teams similar in their work ethic, and how are they different, you would say?
You know, first of all, the game has changed, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
Man, you got to score points. It's basketball on grass out there. It's, you know, and I remember Coach Erickson put in the spread. Coach Johnson had a little spread. You know, back then our goal was to hold guys under 13 points. I think we could do it. I think we did it many times. Now, realistically, if you hold a team under 28 points, you're probably going to win the football game. So the game has changed. I think you got to get playmakers. You got to put them in space and let them roll. And the thing that we did with 2019, as you know, Lee, you got to have a great quarterback. We did, and Joe. And we had a great offensive coordinator, Steve Ensminger. And Joe Burrow implemented the spread, and those guys just tore everybody up.
It kind of blows my mind. We're talking with Coach Ed Orgeron. Everybody out there listening to 1010XL just hears the voice and knows that's Eddie O. But when you think about what could have happened to Joe Burrow if he stays up in Ohio versus coming down to LSU, how many times have you had that conversation with him or others around it?
Well, yeah, you know, what a great decision. You know, now, you know, Joe comes from a family. His daddy's a coach, mama's a principal. They're going to make good decisions. But look, it wasn't easy to get him down here. He came down here on a recruiting visit. And Lee, he didn't want to talk to me. He said, Coach, I don't want to hear you recruit. I said, I never had a recruit. He didn't want to say a word to me. He said, I know you got that recruiting stuff. I don't want to hear it, Coach. That was on Friday. I said, man, I don't know if I want to talk to this guy. And so on Saturday morning, we had a football meeting. And it took me 5 minutes to realize that he was the smartest football player I've ever been around. A genius on football. That's all he wanted. He wanted football and crawfish. So we go out that night. We go out that night, so we can supply that in Baton Rouge, right? Football and crawfish. So we go out that night. We had a restaurant. My recruiting coordinator comes up and she goes, Coach, there's no crawfish. I said, oh my God. I said, call Boudreaux. Call our friend Boudreaux. Get a sack of crawfish balls, bring it through the kitchen, and serve them. Thank God we did. We got the crawfish done.
You got the crawfish and you got the quarterback. So Ed, I love throwing this stat out there because I don't think you get nearly enough credit for what you did at LSU. Your teams were 13-4 against the top 10 at LSU. That's unbelievable. So knowing that, and I know you've been asked this before, but knowing that, you got to coach again, man. Do you think you'll coach again?
You know, I think you got to look at the right situation. I want to take the year off for a reason. I got 3 great young boys, and I wanted to get them started obviously they were going to coach with me at LSU. But now that I was not the head coach, I had to put them in place that I thought they could have success. And it looks like we're putting the final pieces together. But they're all going to be working. They're all going to be young analysts. They want to coach. And, you know, as you know, think about this. I went to university for 43 years. It's time to graduate, right? So it was good to take the year off and then get my boys settled. Then let's see what happens.
You could always get a master's degree, though, Coach. Am I right? Am I right? PhD?
But you want to coach again, right, Eddie? You definitely do?
Well, if the right situation comes around, it's got to be something that I really feel that's the right situation. You know, sometimes you can take the wrong situation and end up your career is not very positive. I just want to be in a very positive situation where I can win.
Coach Ed Orgeron joining us on the Farrah and Farrah phone line. Coach O, give us a kind of a glimpse into now that you are, I mean, do we want to say you're retired or you're taking a year off?
I'm taking a year off and see what's available.
It's taking the year off to see what's available. What is a day in the life of Coach O in 2022?
All right. Weightlifting, running, eating, going out with my girlfriend, laying low, taking care of my kids. I don't think I put a TV on since January.
Wow.
I got this thing. What do they call that? This Alexis thing. I learned how to work her. You know, like I'm playing. Hey, Alexis, play Fleetwood Mac. I think it's pretty cool. You know.
Here's what we want you to do. If you remember this, Coach, whenever you hang up, you just say, "Hey, Alexa, play 1010XL Skill," and you'll be able to listen to our show whenever you want. Okay, so you throw that out there.
1010XL Skill. I love it, man.
All right, now listen. Now this comes straight out of Louisiana. Hopefully, you can appreciate this because these are flying in as far as people listening to us. But this is Tony Adams' daughter, Jessica, and she said that you'll know it's Crowbar's first cousin. from South Lafayette High School, year behind you. Favorite bar was the Boat Shed and the Lou. Now, where does that take you back to?
Oh, I know who she is. Pretty girl. I know who Crowbar was, too. Great running back.
Yeah.
Outstanding running back.
How did he get the nickname?
Back then, I frequented the Boat Shed many times.
How did he get the nickname Crowbar?
Because he's tough like a crowbar. He was a big tailback, man. Ran out of the eye, a bruising tailback. A great high school football player.
What do you think about Mario and the job that he can do down at Miami?
Phenomenal, man. I was on the staff when Mario was a freshman, and Leon, guess what? He played on the scout team just like you did,
Mm-hmm.
and he was tough. And I remember him and his brother. You remember him? Tough, hard nosed, loved Miami, good team players.
Oh yeah.
The thing I was most go ahead, Lee.
No, you're good. You're right. Both of them are tough. Lewis and Mario Cristobal.
Yes, phenomenal. And then when I went to him speak to the football team, how intelligent he was, and the way he handled that football team, I spent about a week down in Miami. His practices, his organization, and his recruiting skills. Think about this. His first clinic, Jimmy Johnson, Sean McVay, speaking to the high school coaches so he can attract big-time guys. I walk out there as analyst. There's Jason, one of the best pass rushers ever. He's got a great staff. I think it's going to take him a little time because of the recruiting to get to where he wants to do, but I think he can do it.
Now, Coach, I'm always a stickler on the old era and the new era because I think that football now is softened up because I remember the days in spring where we used to have to run them stations and run them 16 110s, Coach.
I know. Hey, Leon, hey, you do that today, they're going to transfer. They're going to get the transfer. Hey, Lee, you couldn't coach today. You wouldn't have a team.
I know, Coach. You're right. Absolutely.
But you know what? If they would say you'd have a championship team, I promise you that.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
And how do you deal with that as a coach? How do you deal with that when the transfer portal's here now, the NIL is here now? Your job got exponentially tougher with these new rules passing.
Two different things. Listen, man, if they're thinking about the transfer portal, go. We don't need nobody half-hand over here. Hey, go. I mean, hey, what are we gonna do? We're gonna baby you? You go. You gotta go. All right, number one. Number two, the NIL. Here's what I told our players. I want y'all to get paid. But think about this. I don't think there's any company that's going to pay you the amount of money that if you stay here, you work, you win a championship, and you're the first player picked like Joe Burrow, and look how much money he signed. Look, what Joe's going to sign for, like $500 million? Right. I don't think there's any NIL deal that's going to do that for you. So if you focus on the right things and if you can get a little money to the side, I think it's good.
Coach Ed Orgeron, Farrah and Farrah phone line. We are absolutely loving this, Coach O. I know I asked you about a day in the life. Are you consulting, coaching? Where can we find you these days in terms of in the coaching world, or it is completely cut off?
No. Hey, I went down to Miami. I watched them practice. Great defensive line coach. I like those guys. Then, I interviewed Marcus Freeman, and I think is a phenomenal coach. And he took the job in Notre Dame, which turned out to be the right decision for him. He's the head coach. I've never been up to Notre Dame. Leon, you're going to love this. They brought us to the stadium. They brought us on a tour. And, Lee, when you pull up to the stadium, Miami goes to the left. Notre Dame goes to the right.
I remember, Coach.
Yeah. Well, they wanted me to go to the right, Lee. It was kind of hard.
Oh, I know.
But I did it. And, look, I had a blast up there. I think those guys are doing a tremendous job. I spent a week with them. I spoke to the team a little bit. I spoke to the staff. And I spoke with the defensive line coach. So we had a great time there. I enjoy going to see coaches. I'm gonna be around the game somehow, some way, and just keep on doing what I like to do.
All right, two more quickies because we know we got to turn you loose. Hopefully, we're going to get you to record a liner for XL Primetime. That will sound Cajun good if we can do that. But the two things is on our text line. A Jaguar fan wants to know about Caleb Chase to definitely try to. Yeah. He needs to get those engines started here. And then the other question. Did you at least get a kick out of Brian Kelly trying to sound Southern? Did it at least make you laugh just a little bit?
Hey, with Caleb, I haven't followed him much. I know he's a great kid, great passer. He's got a good long arm. I hope he has a great career there. He's a great young man. I think he will. And I'm just going to leave the other one alone.
Well, listen, if you don't mind, we'll put you on hold. JJ will take you through it. That way you can give us a little line or so, and it's going to be dedicated to Leon, I'm sure.
You got it, guys. Hey, whatever y'all need, y'all give me a call.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thanks,
Thanks
Ed.
for coming
You're the man,
on.
Coach O.
Appreciate you.